Hello there, everyone. How you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r slash entitled Parents Inheritance Edition because we're gonna go over some stories where an inheritance destroys families, although most of them already had shaky foundations. If you enjoy, like and subscribe. Leave a comment with your thoughts down below, and without further ado, let's get started, shall we? My mother decided my inheritance won't pay for my college after I told her she should get a VPN. My mother bought an Android TV box that can stream any new show or movie for free, quote unquote, which I told her was technically illegal, but her response was, "Streaming isn't illegal because we're downloading the content." And I said, "Aight," and left it. Turns out our internet service provider isn't too keen on this, though, and throttles our whole network to unbearable speeds when the box is in use. However, the box will hog all the throttled bandwidth, so the movie will still stream, but every other device will be kicked off the network. When I told my mother about this, or asked them to just pause for a bit so I'm able to get my work done, her response is always, "I pay for the internet, and it seems to be working, so you can deal with not having internet while I'm watching TV." I've been dealing with this for 2 weeks now. I was disqualified from 2 job interview technical tests, had a plea to take a midterm with my professor, and often get booted when I'm on a call with my GF, whom is long distance, going to school, and we only get 2 or 3 hours to talk a day. When they left for a bit today, I did some troubleshooting and found out that a VPN fixes this problem. So when they came back, I told her a VPN fixes the problem, and they should use one anyway since their activities are illicit, and it also helps keep our information safe. Her response, unsurprisingly, was, "I bought the box to stop paying for subscriptions. I'm not going to pay for something when the TV works just fine. You can live without the internet." I thought she'd at least be reasonable, and I was going to offer to pay for half the yearly subscription to ExpressVPN, but instead I was just shocked and left. Shortly after, she came to me and told me that I should just pay for the VPN, because I'm the one who would be using it anyway. I told her that's not how it works. I wouldn't be using it, but I'll split the cost with her. She didn't like that answer because then she started to go off saying, "You're 22 and you don't pay for anything. You should start at least paying for rent and to use our internet." Now, I know that statement doesn't sound too bad, Reddit, and I agree. Taken out of context, it's probably fine. But here is some background for context. My parents told me I can live rent-free till I graduate college, which led me to go to the local university to save money and not have to pay for room and board. My tuition, on the other hand, is just barely covered through a small sum of money my grandfather left me when he passed. But the account holder's name is my mother's. If that doesn't cover my tuition, I would pay it myself out of pocket. My brother, on the other hand, moved out to go to college, and his financials are a whole different story. My mother fully pays for his tuition, room and board, and groceries so he doesn't have to work while he goes to school. The tuition and room and board together for him are almost 3 times what my tuition alone costs, and yet she pays that without batting an eye. Anyways, to continue the story. My mother continued going off, telling me that starting now I'll have to pay rent. It'll be $1,200 a month, and I have to pay for the VPN so I can access the internet. Also, I'll have to pay for the internet since you're the only one who uses it anyway. And she finished off her list of demands by stating,
Also, the trust won't be covering your tuition anymore, so you need to pay me back the $26,000 that it's paid so far.
I was just silent and left. I broke down into tears when I got into my car and started driving. I haven't talked to her since, and I'm just fuming that she wouldn't hold my inheritance random. I have 2 months till I graduate, and I was planning to just yeet out of there the day I do. But every month it's something else that's my fault and I have to pay for. It started off with groceries. I now buy over half the groceries and make dinner for me and my parents 4 days a week. Because she said,
you should start making us dinner since you should learn how to cook. Then when I get my tax refund,
she made me give her half of it because
I did your taxes, so I deserve your tax refund.
Which I didn't ask her to do. I just came home from work one day and she had already filed them. Same thing with the stimulus checks during COVID.
You should have got the stimulus checks. It should be mine since I'm your mother.
And they didn't qualify because their income was too much. Me and my father are going to see a show tonight. He sees the stark contrast in the way she treats me compared to my brother, and has even told me before that, I know she treats you differently than everyone else, and you just need to not cause a ruckus or stir anything with your mother, and just leave as soon as you graduate. But he actually won't stand up to oppose her on anything, so whatever she says, go. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, OP. I wish you luck in your future endeavors. Hopefully you can get out of your asshole of a mother's roof. My mom feels entitled to my inheritance money. She wants to use it to put a down payment on a house. I only found out about it 6 years later because I looked into a cabinet in our house and did some research. I, a 24 female, found out earlier this year that I was supposed to receive around $160K in inheritance money when my father passed away. I found out by looking into a cabinet in our house. I was compelled to do so because my mother acts rich or poor whenever it suits her, along with other strange behavior. I found a letter that was addressed specifically to me from the life insurance company that had my inheritance. All I needed to do was submit some paperwork and they'd give me a check. I'm not sure how, but my mother somehow submitted documents for me and even cashed the check that was in my name. I'm also not sure why she felt entitled to it when she got $500K in inheritance herself. When I confronted her about it, she obviously did not take it well. She was very adamant that it's her money until I informed her that, after I found the documents, I called the life insurance company and received photocopies of the check. She submitted documents and so on. After I told her that, she tried negotiating with me, stating that she can give me $10K to start with, and then $2K every month. I said no, she will guilt me into delaying her payments if we go that route. She tells me she'll be homeless if I get all the money at once. I eventually make her show me her bank statements. As far as I know, she has around $330K. In addition, she's been making 6 figures with her job for the past 3 years. Homeless my ass. I told her I need a good amount of money if I want to have any chance of moving out. I wanted to move out with my friend, but my mom took way too long to give me any money. I received $50K from her. Like a week or so later, she started asking if she could borrow $20K for a month. She said she needs it in her bank account so the lender can approve of the condo or house she wants to buy. She asked if I'll be okay, and I stupidly told her that I'd be getting grants from school too. Then she wanted to borrow $20K on top of the grant money, but passively aggressively mentioning it whenever she could. A few weeks later, she forced me to go with her to the bank to withdraw $20K. This was on October 3rd. On November 23rd, I asked her to give me $2K. I told her it's been almost 2 months and I want a portion of it back via text. She gives me the silent treatment in person and text. The next day I try calling her and she starts crying hysterically and says,
I knew I should have trusted you with money. What are you doing? Drugs? Are you gambling? Why are you so mean? You ruined my holiday. You've ruined my life. You're abnormal. You're just doing this because you're behind in your life and you're desperate. You don't have utilities to pay for. I spent so much money on food in the past month.
I'm not exaggerating when I say I've never told her to buy me food or make me food, but she always uses it as a form of guilt. A couple of days later, we have a 4-hour argument. During this argument, I was so disgusted with her behavior that I told her I want nothing to do with her. A couple days after that, to my surprise, she comes into my room and asks me to hug her. She starts crying and says she just suppresses her thoughts and feelings. She says she'll give me $500 now and then $500 on December 22nd. What the hell? I swallowed my anger for a couple of days, but then I could no longer hold it in. I wasn't giving her the silent treatment, but I wasn't looking at her or initiating in any form of talking. She notices this and asks what's wrong. She goes,
"It's the money, isn't it?"
and then repeats the same thing she did last time.
"Are you gambling? You have no utilities."
And so on. And again, she made it very clear she wants to buy a condo or a house. I can't remember which. I told her I'm mad at her because you told me you needed $20,000 for a month. It's been over 2 months and now you're still not giving it. So you lied. After this, she started acting like she was going to cry. She left the house and then transferred another $500. I haven't talked to her since. It infuriates me that she thinks she's entitled to this money. Why do you need a house? You're getting old and you're single. Secondly, it was not only was this the money in your account in the first place, because you committed fraud, but now I let you borrow money and you're going to treat it like it's an allowance? It's my money. Legally. Get over it. You've already got $500,000 before you took my money. Since I was 18, I've been working minimum wage jobs. She's made it clear as day that she thinks her needs are way above mine. I don't have utilities. I don't have a career yet, so I'm less important. Even if that's factually true, I'm your child, and that money is legally mine. Also, I just want to share this example of her behavior I just remembered. When I was 19, I was working at a tutoring place, in addition to a restaurant, while taking 16 units in college with no car. I was leaving the house one day to get a haircut. My mom then asked me,
"Where are you going?"
I told her I'm going to get a haircut. She then says verbatim,
"Really? You're supposed to be using that money to help me."
That's how entitled she is. Like, oh my god. At this point, she received $660,000, while her child, who's a full-time student with 2 jobs and no car, is not important enough to use that money they earned from their job to get a haircut. I'm so mad, and I just have a huge problem with getting this taken care of, because I hate making people uncomfortable. This is also why I cannot blindside a person by randomly bringing the issue up. I usually have to text them first. But I'm starting to think that's never a good idea. Ugh. First update. I had a consultation with a lawyer yesterday, and they said it seems like an open and shut case. They told me to see if I can do a little more digging in regard to my dad's assets before he passed, and talk to the insurance company to see what my options are, and to call him back on the 17th. Update 2. Not sure if many people will see this, but I've contacted 5 law firms so far for consultations, and will be discussing everything with them. I'm still absolutely terrified of going through with anything, but I'm trying to push myself through. I'm terrified I'm not deserving of the money, and that I'm a terrible person for doing this. Don't feel bad, OP. Your mother's an asshole. And assholes get hemorrhoids. You know what? Actually, your mother's a hemorrhoid. She has no use. Entitled aunt thinks she's entitled to my inheritance that I don't even have yet. Oh boy, where to begin? Now, context: when I was 1, my great granddad and my dad's side died from old age. He was 101. He fought in the Falklands conflict and had a lot of money invested into British stock and loved to collect wine. Now, I was his only great grandchild, and he loved me in the short period between my birth and his death, and he said he wanted me to remember him by. So in his will, he states that when I'm 18, I'm 15 now, I'll receive something from him. Currently, no one knows what it is except my granddad, and he won't tell. He respected my dad too much. I know Iya is my dad's younger sister, and she is an entitled witch. She tried to throw away all my dad's childhood belongings because
I need room for my stuff.
And can only put it in
his room, as mine is full.
Thank God my granddad shut her down, as my dad has some pretty valuable stuff from the 80s. This was 2 years ago, and we've had no contact since. I might also add that she lives in Yorkshire, so I hardly see her. Yesterday around 9 p.m. I received a phone call from her. This is the conversation to memory. Hello?
Hi, it's your favorite aunt.
Internally, of course. Hi, how are you?
Good. Anyway, I have a favor.
Me, who was suspicious, said what?
Well, I was thinking that since you're too young, since you never met him, can I have your inheritance?
I start laughing maniacally.
Excuse me, I'm not joking. You don't need it. I do. I'm his oldest grandchild.
She isn't.
I deserve it. Didn't my brother teach you to respect your elders, or is he being effing abusive and neglectful?
No, he loves me, and I don't know what it is I have 3 years to wait. Just stop. Why on earth do you think you're entitled to it?
You adorable, spoiled effing fatso! You do what I say!
At this point, my dad walks in, and I put her on speaker.
Since I am your aunt, I could kill you, and no one would care. You are an effing disgrace to this family, and we all effing hate you.
I calmly reply my dad's here and she's on speaker, and my dad yells the following.
Do you think it's okay to say that to a teen? You're the spoiled one. It's not his or my fault you wasted the 10 grand he left you on alcohol and clothes. So frick off. Never contact us again, and I will be speaking to Granddad about this.
He calls my granddad, and for a few hours later, my granddad calls him back saying he's dealt with her, and has even cut her from his will. I don't know why she feels entitled to this. Honestly, I kinda don't know if I want it. Because this aunt isn't the first time someone has tried to take my inheritance I can't touch yet. I don't know if it's worth the hassle. I will update, but not on what I get. Have a lovely day. Edit. I know about the confusion, but there is a Yorkshire regiment in World War II in Falklands. Thank you for the kind Reddit user who found it. His comments down below. And then insert obligatory thanks stranger for first gold. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment with your thoughts down below. Maybe check out my links in the description. Who knows? I'm not your dad. Anyway, I will see you all next time. Hasta la pasta.